Whether it's assassinating a target or infiltrating a location to retrieve something, stealth missions are hard to design. On top of realistic but fair enemy AI and multiple ways to complete objectives, the best stealth missions need to evoke a feeling of high stakes, of tension, and an underlying fear of failure or death, whichever comes first. Let's take a look at what we believe to be the 15 greatest tension-filled stealth missions of all time.
Alright, I don't know who you are, but this is private property.
What are you talking about? I've been working here for 2 years.
Prove it.
Prove it? Okay. Well, the key code to the back doors, Hey, wait a minute. You're trying to trick me.
Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, Panama Bank. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory had its fair amount of action, but the Panama Bank level is where stealth reigned supreme. Your mission was to steal $50 million in bearer bonds, which must be done by authorizing vault access from 3 different panels in the building.
It looks like a laser grid just came online.
Lasers. Lasers are so...
90s?
I was gonna say 70s. Can you please stop making me feel old?
Got bad news for you, Sam. You are old.
Getting into the bank is going to be your first obstacle. The only real option is through the roof, and once inside, you'll need to deal with laser sensors, cameras, motion sensors, and guards. Though Chaos Theory wouldn't end a mission if an alarm was triggered, Panama Bank was still nerve-wracking in its own right. Dishonored 2, the Clockwork Mansion. It's only the 4th mission, but Clockwork Mansion is simply stunning in its design. The objective is to kill Kirin Jindosh and rescue Anton Sokolov. As with every mission in the game, you can kill everything, but the sheer amount of options for stealth is incredible given the mansion's transforming nature, as it changes and twists before your very eyes. Delving into the walls and other obscure parts of the mansion will reveal more about Jindosh, culminating in a maze to retrieve Sokolov and a laboratory of unsettling creations. The Last of Us, Hotel Lobby, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is far from the ideal location in The Last of Us, and this is best showcased in the hotel lobby. The section where Joel falls into the water and navigates to the generator is when things get really hairy. Stalkers are introduced and are incredibly good at catching you unaware. Upon powering on the generator, a bloater and runners will also appear to make life miserable. It's possible to fight, but running and not being caught caps off the heart-pounding experience. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, Hellbound. In Mission 12, Venom Snake is tasked with finding Dr. Emmerich and extracting him. This is difficult enough given the guards, attack copter, and walker gears in the base, especially when you're physically carrying Emmerich out. When you make it to the extraction chopper and take down the guards shooting it, you'll encounter Metal Gear Sahelanthropus. Between protecting Emmerich and not dying, Snake has to lure Sahelanthropus from the landing zone. After getting on the chopper, then you can actually fight the mechanical behemoth, which has its own cool moments. Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, the bank job. It'll be hard to top the transforming madness of Clockwork Mansion or the time-traveling escape in A Crack in the Slab. But Dishonored, Death of the Outsider rises to the challenge with the bank job, which sees Billy Lurk sneaking into Dolores Michael Deposit and Loan Bank to steal the twin-bladed knife. Infiltrating the bank is a matter of entering through the rooftop, the sewers, a back door, unlocked by locating a dead custodian's key, and other discrete routes. Navigate the bank and decide whether to access the vault in the manager's office or send it crashing down. Then make your escape, either in stealthy or violent fashion. Half-Life Alyx, Chapter 7, Jeff. Chapter 7, simply titled Jeff, is straightforward enough, but brilliantly nerve-wracking. It sees Alyx Vance battling Jeff, a former worker turned zombie. Jeff isn't like the other zombies though. He's blind but can't be harmed, and you need to lure him to a trash compactor to ultimately dispose of him. This results in a dangerous cat and mouse game, with Alyx having several close calls and avoiding contact with Jeff. Have fun accidentally coughing when near Jeff's spores, which can lead to him barreling towards you in response to the noise. Mark of the Ninja, a change in course. Burn down a building with enemies in it. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, it's easier said than done, as you navigate the shadows and ducts, dodging lasers and motion sensors while avoiding or assassinating guards and opening the gas vents. Once that's done and you make it to the roof, the only thing left is to strike a match and burn it all down, before running away from the spreading flames as quickly as possible. Manhunt. Deliverance. Manhunt is known for its violence, but it was still a fairly tight stealth game, one that emphasized brutal takedowns as opposed to fighting hordes of foes head-on. The last level, Deliverance, illustrates this perfectly. Cash is on his way to Starkweather's office, but Pigsy, the cannibalistic killer, intervenes. The entire encounter goes from sneaking around Pigsy and his chainsaw while wounding him, to pursuing and luring him onto a metal grid, which leads to his death. Even with Pigsy dead, Cash still has to pick off Cerberus mercenaries to finally kill Starkweather. Hitman Blood Money curtains down. For its time, Hitman Blood Money accomplished much with innovative stealth missions. Curtains Down is a stellar example. You have to assassinate actor Alvaro Dalvade and Ambassador Richard Delhoun, the former on stage rehearsing while the latter is sitting in an opera box. To kill them both, you replace a World War I pistol replica with the real deal and rig the chandelier. Once Alvaro is killed on stage by the gun, Delhoun will run down, tripping the chandelier and causing it to fall and crush him. Pulling this off to the bewilderment of all other NPCs, especially without them ever noticing your work in setting things up, is sublime. Alien Isolation: The Descent. Have you ever wanted to descend, no pun intended, into an alien hive? Well, here you go. This mission sees Amanda navigating past various eggs, watching for facehuggers and making her way to the Alpha Conduit, which brings tons of xenomorphs upon activation. Even with a flamethrower, you have to be extremely careful of the main xenomorph, who can still pop up from anywhere. Aragami: The Military District. Despite its technical issues, Aragami had some rather decent stealth mechanics. Take Chapter 10, The Military District, which presented a smaller area than normal but still had a number of scrolls to collect. Despite the size of the district, there were still a number of alternative paths to each scroll, whether you were scaling a building or finding one out on the water. Nothing groundbreaking, but an enjoyable stealth-filled romp that could end in failure all the same. Tenchu Fatal Shadows. Tenchu Kurenai. Like Sekiro, From Software's Tenchu series can be pretty unforgiving. The final chapter of Tenchu Fatal Shadows, Tenchu Kurenai, can change depending on whether you kill Ranzau or not in the previous chapter. It's not the toughest stealth mission, but you still need to play carefully, hugging walls and observing enemy movement for the right assassination opportunities. Plus, there's the building tension of the fight against Juzu, who will parry and rush you like no tomorrow. Payday 2 Shadow Raid. Shadow Raid is unique among Payday 2 heists because it's entirely stealth-focused. The objective is to secure as much loot as possible without raising an alarm. Be prepared to run if you do, because there's only 1 minute to escape. Work out which routes to take, whether it's opening manhole covers and navigating the sewers or taking the high road on the rooftops. Then acquire the loot and make sure you have those crowbars that spawn in the level. You're not home free just yet though, as your party must carefully take the loot back to the getaway vehicle without getting caught. Hitman 2016 World of Tomorrow Sapienza. Taking place in a town off the Amalfi coast in Italy with its cafes, beach, and apartment buildings, Sapienza is incredible to walk through. But your main objective is assassinating Silvio Caruso and Francesca DeSantis, along with destroying the DNA-specific virus. The lab with the virus is located beneath Caruso's villa, so you can follow one opportunity to steal a keycard and uniform to enter the lab. Alternatively, you can cause a mental breakdown for Caruso and, once he faints, kill him quietly before dealing with your other objectives. There are numerous ways to go about your objectives and several interesting stories to glean in the process. Deus Ex Mankind Divided: The Heist. The Heist is one of 2 missions that Adam Jensen can choose, tasking you to infiltrate the Palisade Property Bank in Prague. Your objective is to obtain Orchid, which will come in handy for dealing with Marchenko later. Getting the Orchid is easier said than done. First, you need to retrieve a package from Alyx Vega in the bank's garage, accessible through a number of routes. Then you need to infiltrate the bank and head to the CEO's office on the 3rd floor, which can be done by either speaking to the account manager, where you can bribe or coerce him, or relying on pure stealth. Take the elevator to the vault, which has its share of guards, cameras, and bots to access the VersaLife vault. Getting out is a manner of deploying other vaults and then exiting via the garage. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.